I'm Crystal the Cake Lady, and today I'm going to be sharing a no-bake dessert with you. That's right, no oven required. This dessert is called Oreo Delight, and the recipe was actually shared with me by my sweet sister-in-law Leslie many years ago. It's got layers of chocolate cookie, creamy vanilla goodness, chocolate pudding, Cool Whip, and then more Oreos on top. I guarantee if you take this cool, creamy dessert to a picnic this summer, you'll be bringing home an empty dish. Everyone loves it. Stick around so I can show you what you're going to need. Here's what you're going to need. A regular pack of Oreo cookies, a stick of butter, the large 5.9 ounce box of chocolate instant pudding, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, 16 ounces of Cool Whip, which is one of the large containers or 2 of the smaller containers, 1 cup of powdered sugar, 2 1/3 cups of whole milk, and I always put mine in a 9x13 casserole dish, and I like to use a hand mixer and a food processor. Okay, the first step is to chop your Oreos. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. You can do it the old-fashioned way with a knife, which I think actually probably lends to a crispier, crunchier crust, or you can do it using a food processor, which is much faster, definitely the lazy way, and it kind of pulverizes it into crumbs. What I want to do is actually a mixture of the 2. I'm going to use the food processor for the crust, but about 1/4 of the Oreos are going to go on top. So I'm going to take out that quarter and chop them into little crumbs and just kind of reserve them for the top of the dish. And then I'll use the food processor for the rest. The hardest part of this dessert might just be not digging into the Oreos at this point. And we have nice fine crumbs. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and melt my butter to mix with the crumbs to make the crust. I'll just set the topping crumbs aside. Okay, once the butter is dispersed, I'm going to go ahead and spread it into the bottom of my 9x13 dish. I think it's kind of fun to use a clear dish when you make this so people can see the appetizing layers of chocolate, vanilla, and then finally more cookies on top. But you can use whatever type of dish you'd like. When that's all spread into the bottom of the dish, we'll go ahead and pop it into the refrigerator while we make the next layer. For the next step, we're going to combine our softened cream cheese and our cup of powdered sugar. I'm going to use a hand mixer for this part. And once we get that mixed, we'll gently fold in 8 ounces or half of our Cool Whip. Now we're going to fold in half of our Cool Whip or whip topping. We don't want to deflate the whip topping, so we're just going to gently fold, just like this. Once it's mixed together, we're going to take our Oreo crust out of the refrigerator and spread this over the top. Okay, and you want to be gentle when you're spreading this over the crust because depending on how long it's been in the refrigerator, it may not really be hardened just yet, so you don't want to pull apart the crust while you're spreading this. we're going to pop this back into the fridge and go ahead and get our chocolate pudding layer going. Okay, for the chocolate pudding layer, I like to go ahead and measure out my 2 3/4 cup of milk into a 4-cup measuring dish, because then I can just mix the pudding right in there. And again, I'm using the larger package of the instant pudding. Very important that it's instant pudding. We'll go ahead and mix this together and then spread it over the next layer. Now, instant pudding sets up pretty quickly, but it's not a bad idea to let it sit for about 5 minutes, or you can pop it into the fridge for about 5 minutes before spreading it over the cream cheese layer. Okay, now we'll use a rubber spatula and go ahead and add the pudding layer on top of the cream cheese layer. I add a little less milk than what the instructions on the box of Jell-O pudding requires, because I want it to be a little bit stiffer than regular pudding. That way it kind of holds up better when you're trying to cut it. All right, does this look yummy or what? Now we're going to grab the rest of our Cool Whip, the other half of Cool Whip, and spread it over the top of the pudding. Now we're ready for the rest of our Oreo Cookie Crumbs on top. Just a nice even layer. Doesn't that look scrumptious? Who isn't going to want to dig into this? I hope you've enjoyed our time together today as much as I have, and I hope you'll give this no-bake Oreo Delight recipe a try. If you do, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, if you've enjoyed today's video, how about giving it a thumbs up? And if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can do it by hitting this little logo right here in the corner. Until next time, I'm Crystal the Cake Lady, and happy baking!